Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope you're doing really well and that whenever and wherever you are, when you hear this message, that you are taking care of yourself. You're taking care of your body, your mind, your spiritual life, and your emotional and mental health. I don't know about you guys, but today was a massive energy hit Earth. I was up all night till 9 a.m. I think I would have to say 12 hours ago it began. More than 12 hours, maybe 15 hours ago, the shockwave hit, and just absolutely, I was up all night with intestinal distress, we shall say, as well as I couldn't stop sneezing and blowing my nose, and my throat is swollen, and my body has been absolutely achy, big time achy. Now, a couple days ago, I had a really bad stomach ache, and it wasn't like the stomach flu. I wasn't throwing up or anything like that. Thank you, God. Knock on wood. But my stomach it was pain. It was inflamed and it was in pain. And I had eaten a taco. I eat tacos all the time. And I added a little bit of ají pepper. I eat ají pepper all the time. But whatever it was, my stomach was completely swollen. I think it was a valve going down in my stomach. So I drank water with a little bit more than 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and I was okay. And I thought that was the end of it. Well, within 48 hours, my son had to go to the doctor and sit in the emergency room for like 4 hours because he had really bad stomach pains, like inflammation, intestinal things, just like he was up with diarrhea all night long. For 12 hours, he couldn't really get out of the bathroom. I mean, and I was like, yeah, here's your passport, here's the money, I'm too sick to go. And he took himself over to the, I gave him money for the taxi, and he took himself over to the hospital, and I said, write me if you need me. And he's like, all right. And I got up, I took a shower, and I went right back to bed. And for a couple days for 2 weeks I've been sick, and I was almost completely over just the normal head cold that I had. I had congestion in my chest a little bit, but not bad. Everything was cool. Everything was fine. I was handling it. And then last night, that wave of energy hit, and just massive stomach issues, like really bad. It's just distress, really bad distress, put it that way. And I am not the only one. I've heard from 2 or 3 people besides myself, people that listen to the show, and they were saying, no, I'm having like some really bad stomach issues. Stomach ache, diarrhea, wanting to throw up, feeling nauseated, just gas, like all kinds of stuff, right? So I thought, well, this can't be a coincidence, because it's not like everyone I'm hearing from lives like in my city where something's going around. And my son said when he was in the hospital, 5 or 6 people in a row got the exact same shot as he did. They had the exact same symptoms as he did. So whatever this energy wave is coming in, we're getting like gastronomalies. It's not cool, man. It's been really, really bad. I wanted to read to you guys something that Metaphysical Mike wrote 3 days ago. I've been meaning to do this, and I've been just so out of it. Like, all day. Like, I tried to even watch, like, shows on Netflix while I'm laying in bed, and I just couldn't even really focus on it. It's like I'm not so far out of it that, you know, like, I could just totally sleep. I've been just... I hate that restless feeling. Like, I want to feel better so I could go out and do stuff. I want to go Christmas shopping. I want to go downtown and see my friend at the butcher shop, and I want to buy some steaks from him. I want to have some Christmas steaks. You know, there's like he's got a lot of good products over there. They're expensive as hell, but really good stuff. So, yeah, I've been like wanting to go do stuff. You know, I wanted to go to the park. I want to walk through the park. I want to hang out with my friends, and I've just been absolutely, totally out of it, like, for days. And right before I started to record this, actually, a car hit a dog right in front of my building. I don't know what that was about. I was feeling so lousy that I could barely keep my eyes open. That happened, jolted me up and out of bed. I ran to the window, threw up in the window, and watched as the dog limped down the block. He's okay, but it looks like the car ran over his paw. And I was like so upset, and my son ran to the window too. He heard it from the living room. The dog was screaming in pain, and we were like, oh my God, you know, and we just had so much love for this dog. And by the time my son ran from the living room, the dog was all the way gone down the block. And the people in the car were like in shock. They just didn't do anything for a minute. They're like, you know, and I saw them just like so upset. Like, what can they do? But it's like directly in front of my apartment. I mean, not just in front of the building, but like in front of my window. Like, so weird. I don't know what that means. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if a dog took a hit for me the way crystals take hits for you guys. I do feel better, and I feel bad about that. If the dog, you know, part of me wanted to just go run down the street and look for the dog and see if he's okay. And then I realized, what can I do? I don't have an x-ray machine. I'm not a veterinarian. Even if he did break his leg, is there anything I could do about it? I mean, not really. There's a veterinarian half a block from here, but the dog took off running. I can't catch up to a running dog. So another dog-related thing, 2 days in a row, and it was a blonde dog. It was a short-haired, I don't even know, like some kind of, I don't even know, honestly. My son's like, was it a golden retriever? I'm like, no, it wasn't your friend. He's got a dog that loves him, and the neighbors want to give us the dog because the dog loves my son so much. But we live in this apartment. I can't have a dog in an apartment. If I had a house with a massive yard, then hell yeah, let the dog have a place to run around. But I'm still kind of in shock that happened, because usually the accidents around here are like yesterday, something happened to his motorcycle. His carburetor cut out, and we could hear the energy of it. We feel it, like he skid down the street, and then it took a while, and then we heard it go up, I think, again. But no car hit him. He just, his carburetor cut out. If you have a motorcycle or a motocross bike, you know what I'm talking about, that can happen. But my son told me, I heard it, and I understood that there was something going on, but he understood it to a really intense level since he's got his beachy moto. But I don't know, you guys, it's like I've been spending my whole day just focusing on the peace of God. That's all I want. And I've been feeling this energy, this intense energy. I got up. Actually, I didn't even go to bed until 9 a.m, and I was burning up. So hot. I felt like I had a fever in every cell of my body, but when I touched my forehead, it felt cool. all of my whole body is aching, so hot to the touch, and all my muscles are inflamed. So I got a pack of ice. I have various packs of ice in my freezer just for this kind of thing, because it happens to me sometimes. And I slept with a bottle of ice underneath my neck for like 4 hours. When I woke up, it was still cold and my body felt hot. My body still felt hot. So that tells me that's energy. We have energy coming into our bodies from this supernova. And I mean, to touch my hand is just normal warm, but to feel the energy right next to my hand, it's hot. And that my whole body, even my feet, my neck, my whole body, it's like crazy, like so intense, this energy. And I've felt this kind of stuff before, but to this extent, not so much. This is like one of the big ones. Now, Metaphysical Mike, I'm going to get you, I'm going to read this list to you. That's his name of his YouTube channel, and he wrote this. Accelerated spiritual awakening signs, channeled divine insight from my angelic beings and higher self. Number 1, intense old fear-based beliefs coming up to be cleared. Number 2, reduction of mental clarity. Oh my God, do I have that one? Totally. I've been playing this word blitz, and before I was like a couple weeks ago, I was able to get, 400, 500, 600 points. Now I'm lucky to get 250 points, and just earlier I got like 184 points, and I'm like, I don't see any words in this thing. It's like a word hunt thing, and you have 1 minute to come up with as many words as possible, and you're racing the clock and playing other people, and it's super fun. But I feel like a total idiot the last 3 days. I'm like, just really like, I feel so dumb lately mentally, and that's part of it. Reduction of mental clarity. So if you feel like, you're normally like, x to the nth degree equals da da da, and then now you're like, Beavis and Butthead style, don't worry, because it just means that you are in the process of this massive energy acceleration and spiritual awakening upgrades. Anyway, number 3, emotions of doubt. Number 4, investigating life more than ever before. Number 5, buzzing and tingling encompassing the heart chakra. Yeah, I've felt like palpitations. I've felt like energy in the center of my chest. And I even felt like I was being radiated, like I was in an X-ray machine yesterday. And a little bit today, but yesterday I just felt like I ate fish that had been radiated. And I felt like this when I was in Mexico quite a bit. And incidentally, when I felt that in Mexico, there was a UFO that just hovered in the sky for like 2 or 3 days. And it got to the point where my oldest kid and I decided maybe it's just a star. We're only seeing it at night. And then after like the 4th night, it was freaking gone. And a week after we left, it was reported in the news in Mexico, and they had a picture of the UFO that we had been seeing, and we're like, oh my God, it was real. We thought maybe we're just, somehow hallucinating. It's just an optical illusion. It's just gotta be a star. No, there were some ETs, and they didn't give a crap. They're just hanging out there where everybody could see them every single night, and then they took off. And we were like, whoa, this was pretty crazy stuff. All right. Anyway, so again, let's get back to this. Accelerated spiritual awakening signs include with 6, much greater appetite. And number 7, though, is having a difficult time eating largely meats and junk food. Like, I was on the keto diet for months. In the past couple weeks, because I was sick, I just was like willy-nilly about it. but still wanting to eat vegetables. And I've had an absolute aversion to vegetables. Like when I look at vegetables, I get kind of sick to my stomach. And all I've been eating as far as vegetables are like frozen vegetables that are cut up in like a medley type of thing. And I threw that in like a ramen noodle soup. And those yesterday and today are the 2 days I've had ramen for the first time since like 4 years ago, actually. I mean, it's been so long since I've had ramen of any kind. This is like a local Ecuadorian made. It's not bad, but I mean, it's also not good. It's not terribly healthy. Healthier than what you get in the U.S. though. But still just weird. It's like I have an aversion. Eating fruit though, I've been eating a lot of fruit. And I've been eating meat. And I've eaten vegetarian actually for the past 2 days. But before that, all I wanted was like meat and that's it. Or, but even like 2 weeks ago, I was eating vegetables and meat. But yeah, just eating junk food, lots of junk food. I've been like, when I eat potato chips, I feel better. The salt in the chips have been, if I just eat salt, it doesn't do as much. Something about the potassium in the potatoes, I guess. But if I eat a little bag of chips, my whole throat feels better. No swelling, I feel great. And then the next day I feel yucky again, and I eat another bag of chips, I feel good again. It's very weird. It's like, I know this can't be healthy, but it's what my body's craving, is that junk food. So, let's see. So the next one is 8, excessive pressure around the crown chakra. I am feeling that actually right now just a little bit. I'm feeling, I've been having a headache for a couple days now, and since yesterday or late last night, basically. Really bad. And I thought that could possibly be the stupid noodle soup I ate, but I asked and the answer was no, and it's just the energy coming in. It's the awakening energy coming in right now. It's so intense. So number 9, random bursts of weeping and feeling really gloomy for no reason. I've had that quite a bit. Like, I feel like I'm not really focusing on anything in particular, but all of a sudden I'll have like a quick memory or something, and then I just burst out crying. I feel like a little bit like hopeless or energetically down, or just like life will never be better than this, and even though it will. And I know it intellectually, but my emotional body's just kind of out of whack. And I feel like that too. And I don't know, I didn't tell you guys yesterday, I had a dream. And for 3 or 4 days now, I've been helping other people. I've been sleeping very late into the afternoon. And in my dreams, I'm helping people's spirits. I'm helping people. Sometimes I know some people I've never seen while I'm awake. But I'm helping people all over the globe. And my friend Jacqueline, I haven't seen her in, 25 years. And I tried to add her on Facebook, and she said, "Are you Elena Fox Starks, my friend?" And I answered back, and she said nothing and didn't even add me. So I hope she's okay. I don't even know if she's alive, but I had a dream about her, and we hung out, and she told me that she always loved me, and I was like a sister to her, and she really missed me, and I told her the same thing. So we're like walking down this cobblestone street in this little villa type place outside of Santa Barbara, and just arm in arm, and I think it might have been Solving. She used to really love Solving, but I don't know what happened to her. I don't know at all what happened to her, but so I've been having this like thing, and I woke up, I'd been weeping, I'd been feeling sad, and I didn't know exactly why, and I was just like, I've been sleeping late in 2 or 3 days in a row. I woke up, my eyes are swollen, they're really puffy, because obviously in my sleep, I'm crying in my sleep. So not only am I crying in the daytime, I'm also crying in my sleep. My emotional body is not getting a break, and I don't know what to do about right now. If I figure it out, I'll let you guys know. So number 10 is lack of motivation and inspired thoughts. Yeah, for the past 3 or 4 days, trying to come up with a topic to do the show on, it's been like, it's so hard for me. I'm just like, duh. It's been really, really hard. That's why I channeled God twice in the past week. And that always seems to work out because I can still hear, thank you, God, I can still hear the voice of God. So, number 11 is angry, being angry and easily ticked off. I have felt a lack of patience for sure. My son has been out of nowhere bursts of anger for 3 or 4 days now, and he's been going through the upgrades and the downloads and what have you, the spiritual awakening. He's been getting massive, like, ringing in the ears, the typical tinnitus that we always get. And he's been having this random burst of anger, and then like an hour later, he'll be totally fine. And I know it's just the spiritual upgrade. I'm just like, dude, you know what? Neither one of us feel good enough to have this conversation. Let's wait until we're better. You know what I mean? Because I know that we're going to both be okay like tomorrow or the next day. So number 12 is not feeling secure in normal public settings, especially in large crowds. Yeah, I definitely don't. I never did before. Number 13 is empathic to others' energies more than normal. So when you're feeling empathic to other people, normally if it's like way, way, way more. Like today when I saw the car after they'd hit the dog, I knew they felt bad. Like before, like a year or two ago, if I would have seen something like that, I would have screamed and yelled at the person and assumed that they did on purpose, or they aimed for the dog, or that, you know what I mean? Like I would have assumed like totally the wrong thing. And tonight when that happened, I felt their emotions. They were in shock. They were scared. They were hoping the dog was okay. They didn't know what to do. They were just like rattled. So I said a quick prayer for the dog, and then I said a prayer for them. And so I could see my reactions have changed, which is a good thing, obviously. And that's it. That was his list. He only had 13 things, but I think that's quite enough, right? I mean, 13, signs that you're spiritually awakening right now. These are the current things, the current symptoms, I suppose, if you want to say ascension symptoms. So it's been a hard couple days. I know it's been a hard couple last week, couple weeks, the last 2 weeks, but I still kind of feel my twin with me yesterday, today. He was talking to me about, when he was hanging out with his friends, and then he said, later I want to hang out with you. And then I think I fell asleep, but I felt like he was with me somehow mentally. He said, just at least I want to be with you mentally. I'm like, yeah, me too. This is going to be great, just to be together and kind of rest in each other for a while. And that's the feeling I get when I lay down and I feel my twin with me. I feel like we're resting in each other. So, I mean, I know that it's frustrating if you don't have your twin, but I feel like if you don't and your twin is incarnate right now, what's going to happen is, you're going to start getting these telepathic experiences more and more and more. And eventually it's going to let you lead you to each other when it's time. So, okay, according to Watchers.news, the Watchers News, they don't have a lot extra. They only have a few headlines, but I wanted to read them out loud to you. At least 6 people are dead as strong winter storm causes road accidents and closes the interstates across the Midwestern United States. And that was just today, earlier today, that was reported. So 6 people died as a result of these horrible winter storms with all the snow. Now in Reykjanes in Iceland, in the peninsula of Reykjanes, there are volcanoes there, but they have detected 1,200 earthquakes in the past 24 to 36 hours. 1,200 earthquakes in this little tiny peninsula in Iceland, and they didn't know if it was going to be because of volcanic activity or tectonic plate movement activity. And they've ruled out the volcano now, and now they think it's just tectonic plates are shifting And that's what started this earthquake swarm of 1,200 earthquakes over there in Reykjanes, Iceland. So that's crazy, though. I mean, 1,200 earthquakes in a day, that's a lot. Now, Code Red has been issued in southern Australia right now. They are expecting extreme record heat wave to come through Australia, and I don't know what to tell you guys other than maybe you might want to go out and buy an ice maker machine that can make a bucket of ice in a matter of minutes. But I have a feeling the electricity is going to go out and it's just going to be really bad. I don't know what to tell you other than maybe get a lot of water, freeze a lot of water bottles in your freezer, keep the like the drinking bottles, just like, just normal bottled water, like personal use, or the bigger ones, the 1 liter. Put as many in the freezer and refrigerator as possible and hold them against your body. Be very careful, stay hydrated. Don't go in the sun, stay in the shade, stay inside. Don't run your air conditioner unless it's absolutely necessary, because, and fans take up less electricity than air conditioners, because if everyone's power goes out, that's going to be a disaster. So try not to use extra power. Just start up with that ice right now. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Peppermint essential oil, mix it in other oil. You can put that on your body. When the breeze hits you, you'll feel cooler. Put it on your head. Lavender might do the same, but peppermint has a tingly, cool sensation on the skin. I'm really worried about you guys because you had that freak winter storm followed by this. This is how people get sick, man. When it vacillates between super hot and super cold extremes. I don't know. We should just pray for the whole world. I can't say only pray for South Australia. And I'm looking at all these other headlines. Like, we should just pray for the whole planet. I mean, Namibia, they're still in that drought thing. Now in Sri Lanka, this is a nice new fun one. Sarcastically, she says, dengue outbreak threatens Sri Lanka. Officials warn of a new strain of dengue fever. So, garlic, they hate garlic. They don't like mint either. And if you have mosquitoes around you, there is a mosquito app that plays the sound of what eats mosquitoes, basically dragonflies, 3 or 4 different kinds of dragonflies. You could find an app that has, several species. So if they're not going away with one, just play another. I used to have a anti-mosquito repeller keychain. And in the summertime in Chico, we had mosquitoes galore. And I always played it, especially when it was like time to see fireworks on 4th of July. We laid out on the hood of my car, my kids and I, put a blanket up on the hood of the car and on the windshield, and we just laid there, turned on the mosquito thing, and we couldn't hear it over the loud fireworks and everyone's music. And it kept all the mosquitoes away from us. Other people were around us slapping and spraying this stuff on them. And I don't like to use DEET. I don't think it's healthy. I think it causes cancer. And I always told my kids, we're going to do everything natural. Dr. Bronner's peppermint essential oil soap is like a glycerin liquid soap. If you have that in Australia, put that. If you have that in Sri Lanka, if you don't, just mix it with like a liquid glycerin. If you have just like a bar of glycerin soap, and melt that into some water. And as it's cooling, put in like a bunch of peppermint leaves or essential oil, rub that on your body, and, or put in a spray bottle with water and just spray your clothes. That will keep the mosquitoes away. I don't know what else to say about that, but I'm really worried about you guys over there. Dengue fever is nothing to fool with. I think there might be a shot you can get, a vaccination. In Malaysia, severe floods hit Johor because of the monsoon season that's continuing, and More than 10,000 people have been evacuated as of today, just a couple hours ago. So, I mean, I don't know, guys. That's what's going on right now in the world. I'll keep you guys updated. Just pray for everybody, because we are one big soul family, right? We're all part of the same God. We're all from the same place. And I don't know, it distresses me when the people around the world are feeling these kind of stressors, you know, the parameters. The parameters, there's so many parameters. Today in Schumann Resonance News, it literally just says calm. That's it. Nothing else. Just one word, and the word is calm. The power is 10. It says basically Hertz frequency is 10. Oh my God, and now I'm absolutely burning up again. Absolutely burning up with this energy. And I touched my forehead, and my forehead's actually got a cool, thin layer of like sweat a little bit, like moisture. And I'm not like sweating a lot, but I just feel like this is a massive upgrade. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if like the wings started to sprout out of the center of my back tomorrow. That's like how okay, I'd be super happy if that happened. It'd be worth it to go through all this suffering and then, oh, but I have wings now. I could totally fly. That'd be amazing. All right. So we had a peak yesterday, according to heartmath.org. We had a peak yesterday in Honolulu, South Africa, at 249 hertz frequency at 1600 hours. You know, so basically 4 in the afternoon yesterday over there. So I wanted to bring that up before I read today's, because it's considerably lower. It came way down since yesterday. In California at midnight, the hertz frequency on the Schumann resonance scale was 63, and it went down to 58 by 5 a.m. And in Hofuf, Saudi Arabia, they're still at 0 all the way across, just 0, 0, 0 all the way across. In Lithuania, they started off at 12 hertz frequency at midnight, and they were 0 by 5 a.m. So not much activity there. As far as Alberta, Canada is concerned, they started off at 83 hertz frequency at midnight and went down to 72 by 5 a.m. Northland, New Zealand started off at 63 hertz frequency at midnight and went up to 73 hertz frequency by 5 a.m. Now, remember, I was just saying that, you know, at 4 in the afternoon yesterday in Honolulu, South Africa, they were at 249 hertz frequency, but 8 hours later, at midnight, they were down to 163 hertz frequency. And then by 5 a.m., they had come all the way down to 117 hertz frequency. And that's the Schumann Resonance News for today. All right. We are on lesson 188, just to take a little bit of the energy of the high vibration of A Course in Miracles every day, as we do. This is the foundation for inner peace. You can find this lesson and read all of it. I'm not going to read all of it. It's at acim.org, or you can just download for free any number of amazing A Course in Miracles apps. All right, lesson 188, the main thought of the day is the peace of God is shining in me now. The peace of God is shining in me now. And that's peace, P-E-A-C-E. The peace of God is shining in me now. Why wait for heaven? Those who seek the light are merely covering their eyes. The light is in them now. Enlightenment is but a recognition and not a change at all. Light is not of the world, yet you who bear the light in you are alien here as well. The light came with you from your native home and stayed with you because it is your own. It is the only thing you bring with you from him who is your source. It shines in you because it lights your home and leads you back to where it came from, and you are at home. This light cannot be lost. Why wait to find it in the future or believe it's been lost already or was never there? It can so easily be looked upon that arguments which prove it is not there become ridiculous. Who can deny the president, who can deny the presence of what he beholds in him? It is not difficult to look within, for there all vision starts. There is no sight, be it of dreams or from a truer source, that is not but the shadow of the seen through inward vision. There perception starts, and there it ends. It has no source but this. The peace of God is shining in you now, and from your heart extends around the world. It pauses to caress each living thing, and leaves a blessing with it that remains forever and forever. What it gives must be eternal. It removes all thoughts of the ephemeral and valueless. It brings renewal to all tired hearts, and lights all vision as it passes by. All of its gifts are given everyone, and everyone unites in giving thanks to you who give and you who have received. The peace of God is shining in me now. Let all things shine upon me in that peace, and let me bless them with the light in me. All right, it's a very short lesson today, actually. It's only 10 paragraphs, so if you want to check it out, again, that's acim.org. Now, I'm going to come back in a few after these messages. And when I do, we are going to continue reading The Spirit's Book by Allan Kardec, published in 1857 in Paris, France. This it's a question and answer format. And he's basically asking mediums all over Paris the same questions and recording their answers. And all their answers were the same. Maybe a couple words off here and there, but practically 100% the same. If you want to hear the story of his life and what he did and how he came to this, how he wrote this book, Kardec is the name of the movie. It's on Netflix right now. If you are interested in hearing or seeing his methods and what he did, and also the problems it caused with the Catholic Church, they don't want anyone to know the truth. Takes their power away. They want the power over the people. They don't want the people to have freedom, so that's why he wrote it. Anyway, we're going to come back in a couple minutes. We're going to start with question 511. This section of the book is so long that I had to just break it up from last week and start again tonight. We are on page 238 out of 429. What that tells me is this might be 24 episodes of this book. So that would be another 6 months, maybe, right? I don't know. 6 weeks? No, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I think we're basically halfway through, and it's already been like a couple months. So this was a really long one, but it's a very, very interesting book. And every episode on this book, totally different topics. You know, it's the same question and answer format, asking the spirits. And, you know, he asked them around 1,000 questions. It's quite extensive. This is the most research that has ever been conducted this way, probably even in history to this day. So anyway, I love this book so far. It's been interesting, and plus the spirits are a little bit snarky and short-tempered, so it makes it kind of funny for me. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, we're going to get right to it, right after this. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, and it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated, and now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you. All right, guys, I was waiting for that other segment to upload, and I laid down for just a split second and closed my eyes, and I woke up 2.5 hours later. I feel better, but boy, are my ears ringing, and again with that heat, the hot energy again. So I don't know, I feel better. My eyes are clear. So maybe that sleep helped me somehow. Hopefully it is. I hope you guys are handling this energy okay. That just came in from the cosmos. And whatever the sun's going to throw at us once, it's probably already done that. We'll see how we all feel tomorrow, right? All right. This is The Spirit's Book by Allan Kardec from 1857, published in Paris, France. Question 511. Is there, besides the spirit guardian, an evil spirit attached to each individual for the purpose of exciting him to evil, thus furnishing him with the opportunity of struggling between good and evil? The spirits say, it would not be correct to say attached. It is very true the bad spirits endeavor to draw you out of the right road when they find an opportunity of doing so. But when one of them attaches himself to an individual, he does so of his own accord, because he hopes to be listened to. In such a case, there is a struggle between good and the evil spirit, and the victory remains with the one to whose influence the man has voluntarily subjected himself. Question 512. May we have several protecting spirits? The spirits say, every man has always about him a number of sympathetic spirits of more or less elevation who interest themselves in him from affection, and he also has others who help him to do evil. Help him. Question 513. Do spirits who are sympathetic to an individual act upon him in virtue of a mission to that effect? The spirits say, in some cases they may have a temporary mission, but in general they are only drawn to an individual by similarity of sentiments in good or in evil. And the follow-up question, it would seem then that sympathetic spirits may be good or bad? And the spirits say, yes, a man is always surrounded by spirits who are in sympathy with him, whatever may be his character. Question 514. Are familiar spirits the same as sympathetic spirits and spirit guardians? The spirits say, there are very many shades in guardianship and in sympathy. You may give to these whatever names you please, but the quote-unquote familiar spirit is rather the general friend of the family. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that was very interesting. All right, so Allan Kardec has his own information he wanted to add here. So he says, from the above explanations and from observation of the nature of spirits who attach themselves to men, we draw upon the following inferences. The spirit protector, good genius, or guardian angel is the one whose mission it is to follow each man through the course of his life and to aid him to progress. His degree in advancement is always superior to that of his ward. Familiar spirits attach themselves to certain persons for a longer or shorter period of time in order to be useful to them within the limits, often somewhat narrow, of their possibilities. They are generally well-intentioned, but sometimes rather backward and even frivolous. They busy themselves with the everyday details of human life and only act by order or with the permission of the spirit guardians. Sympathetic spirits are those who are drawn to us by personal affectation and by a similarity of tastes in good or evil. The duration of their relationship with us is almost always dependent on the circumstances. An evil genius an evil genius is an imperfect or wicked spirit who attaches himself to a man for the purpose of perverting him, but he acts of his own motion and not in virtue of a mission. His tenacity is proportionate to the more or less easy access accorded to him. A man is always free to listen to the suggestions of an evil genius or to repel them. Question 515. What is to be thought of those persons who seem to attach themselves to certain individuals in order to urge them onto their injury or to guide them on the right road? And the spirits say, some persons do in fact exercise over others a species of fascination which seems irresistible. When this influence is used for evil, it is to be attributed to evil spirits who make use of evil men in order to effectually subjugate their victim. God may permit this in order to try you. Question 516. Could our good or our evil genius incarnate himself in order to accompany us more closely in our earthly life? And the spirits say, that sometimes occurs, but they more frequently entrust this mission to incarnated spirits who are in sympathy with them. Question 517. Are there spirits who attach themselves to all the members of a family in order to watch over and aid them? And the spirits say, some spirits attach themselves to the members of a family who live together and who are united by affection, but do not attribute pride of race to spirit guardians. Question 518. Spirits being attracted to individuals by their sympathies, are they similarly attracted to companies of persons united in view of special ends? And the spirits answer, spirits go by preference to the places where they meet their similars. They are more at ease among such and more sure of being listened to. Everyone attracts spirits to himself according to his tendencies, whether as an individual or as an element of a collective whole, such as a society, a city, or a nation. Societies, towns, and nations are therefore assisted by spirits of more or less elevated degree, according to the character and passions which predominate in them. Imperfect spirits withdraw from those who repel them, from which it follows that the moral excellence of collective wholes, like that of individuals, tends to keep away bad spirits and attract good ones, who rouse and keep alive this sense of rectitude in the masses, as others may sow among them the worst passions. Question 519. Have agglomerations of individuals, such as societies, cities, nations, their special spirit guardians? And the spirits answer, yes, for those assemblages constitute collective individualities who are pursuing a common end and who have need of a higher direction. Question 520. Are the spirit guardians of masses of men of a higher degree of advancement than those who are attached to individuals? The spirits answer, their advancement is always in proportion with the degree of advancement of masses as of individuals. 521. Can certain spirits advance the progress of the arts by protecting those who cultivate them? The spirits say, there are special spirit protectors who assist those by whom they are invoked when they judge them to be worthy of their help. But what could they do with those who fancy themselves to be what they are not? They cannot make the blind to see, nor the deaf to hear. And Allan, Kardec adds his thoughts to this. He says, the ancients converted these spirit guardians into special deities. The muses were nothing else than the allegoric personification of the spirit protectors of arts and sciences, just as the spirit protectors of the family circle, designated by the name of Yares or of Penates. Among the moderns, the arts, the various industries, cities, countries also have their protecting patrons, who are no other than spirit guardians of a higher order, but under different names. Each man having his sympathetic spirit, it follows that in each collective whole, the generality of sympathetic spirits corresponds to the generality of individuals, then that stranger spirits are attracted to it by identity of thoughts. In a word, that these assemblages, as well as individuals, are more or less favorably surrounded, influenced, assisted, according to the predominant character of the thoughts of those who compose them. Among nations, the conditions which exercise an attractive action upon spines are the habits, manners, dominant characteristics of their people, and above all their legislation, because the character of a nation is reflected in its laws. Those who uphold the reign of righteousness among themselves combat the influence of evil spirits. Wherever the laws consecrate injustice, inhumanity, good spirits are in the minority, and the mass of bad ones who flock in, attracted by that state of things, keep the people in their false ideas, and paralyze the good influences which, being only partial, are lost in the crowd, like a solitary wheat ear in the midst of tares. It is therefore easy, by studying the characteristics of nations, or of any assemblage of men, to form to oneself an idea of the invisible population which is mixed up with them in their thoughts and in their actions. Wow, that's like really powerful. I never thought about that before. I don't know if you guys remember ever hearing that George Washington was visited by an angel that was like the angel of America. I've heard of that story, and I'll have to look into that more and tell you about that on another day. But, different places do have different energies. And I've noticed that about different cities and different countries, in different cities within countries, of course. So it's pretty interesting. I'm like, I don't know about you guys, but that's like opening my eyes to a few different things, I suppose. When the overall general gist of a person or a people in a country, like in when I was in Peru, like overall the general energy towards us, they were against us, basically. My kids and I, like, traveling through there was like insane. Like, I told you guys on another episode about how a lady tried to charge us $600 for a candy bar. And she said like $50 at first, and then I said that she was a racist, and she's stupid because she's ruining her own business, because she lived in a tourist town and there's tourists coming in all the time. And I saw her charge like, $1 for an imported Snickers bar, and, to a local. And then when I went to pay, she said $50. And I'm like, you're racist. I'm not going to shop here. You're ruining your business. You're stupid. And I put it back. And then we went later by there, and I think my oldest kid went in there to tell her off. And she said it would be $600 for the candy bar. And it's like people are shooting themselves in the foot left and right by being racist. They just are. They're just stupid. When it's like she was, in Puno, and that's like one of the major places where tourists go, and she's doing that to all the tourists. And we were like, we went down and we bought the same candy bar at the market for like 50 cents. And we came back and we waved it in her face and we said, see, 50 cents, because they're nice people over at the marketplace. And it was just like, we were so mad about it. Like, but they were the idiots, but they're listening to those evil spirits. But I noticed that kind of, I would find one good individual out of, say, 75. Maybe 2 out of 100 were good and sympathetic towards us. And then with further inquiry, we find out they're from other places. Like one would be actually from Peru, and where the other one, they would be nice to us, we'd find out later, oh, they're from Venezuela or Colombia. It was very weird. It was very rare to find 2 people out of 100 that were actually good to us from actual Peru. And I'm thinking this might be why it kind of accounts for it seems to me. Presentiments. Question 522. Is a presentiment always a warning from the spirit guardian? And the spirits say, presentiment is a counsel privately addressed to you by a spirit who wishes you well. The same may be said of the intuition, which decides a choice of his flew existence, F-L-E-W. I think that's spelled wrong. It just makes sense, but okay, we'll just go with it. So the intuition which decides the choice of his flew existence by a spirit about, or maybe it means new existence, by a spirit about to reincarnate himself. The voice of instinct is of the same nature. Oh, yeah, okay. The voice of instinct. That's a spirit. Maybe. Very weird. I never thought of that. A spirit, before incarnating himself, is aware of the principal phases of his new existence. That is to say, of the kind of trials to which he is about to subject himself. When these are of a very marked character, he preserves in his inner consciousness a sort of impression respecting them, and this impression, which is the voice of instinct, becoming more vivid as a critical moment draws near. That becomes presentiment. Oh, it's so strange. Question 523. Presentiments and the voice of instinct are always somewhat vague. What should we do when in a state of uncertainty? The spirits say, when you are in doubt, invoke your spirit guardian or implore our common master, God, to send you one of his messengers, one of us. Oh. So, are the spirits that are answering these questions, if they called themselves messengers, they might be angels, as opposed to spirits. That's very interesting. Question 524. Are the warnings of our spirit guardians given solely for our moral guidance? Are they also given for our guidance in regard to our personal affairs? The spirits answer, they are given in reference to everything that concerns you. Your spirit guardians endeavor to lead you to take, in regard to everything that you have to do, the best possible course. But you often close your ears to their friendly counsels and thus get yourselves into trouble through your own fault. Psst. Yeah, that's the truth, right? And Allan Kardec adds this thought. Our protecting spirits aid us by their counsels and by awakening the voice of our conscience. But as we do not always attach sufficient importance to these hints, they give us a more direct warning through the persons around us. Let a man reflect upon the various circumstances of his life, fortunate or unfortunate, and we will see that on many occasions he received advice which, had he followed it, would have spared him a good deal of annoyance. Oh, that is so true. Yeah, I've failed to listen when my kids heard something and told me, hey, Mom, don't do that, and I did it anyway, and then we all got into trouble. Things happened that shouldn't have happened. Yeah, it's weird. It's a couple times where I trusted someone I shouldn't have trusted, and my kids, I would feel a warning thing, and then I'd be like, no, I'm going to go forward with this. My kids would then become the warning. Now I listen to my kids, but it took 2 or 3 times, and then I realized, now reading that, it's like, oh, okay, well, that's good. I'll get a warning for my kids if they ignore it, and they get a warning for me if I ignore it. That's cool. Influence of spirits on the events of human life. Question 525. Do spirits exercise an influence over the events of our lives? And the spirits answer, assuredly they do, since they give you advice. Follow-up question. Do they exercise this influence in any other way than by means of the thoughts they suggest to us? That is to say, have they any direct action on the course of earthly events? The spirits answer, yes, but their action never oversteps the laws of nature. Allan Kardec adds his thoughts. He says, we erroneously imagine that the action of spirits can only be manifested by extraordinary phenomena. We would have spirits come to aid by means of miracles. And we imagine them to always be armed with a sort of a magic wand. Such is not the case. All that is done through their help being accomplished by natural means, their intervention usually takes place without our being aware of it. Thus, for instance, they bring about the meeting of two persons who seem to have been brought together by chance. They suggest to the mind of someone the idea of going to a particular direction. They call your attention to some special point. If the action on your part thus led up to by their suggestion, unperceived by you, will bring about the result they seek to obtain. In this way, each man supposes himself to be obeying only his own impulse, and thus always preserves the freedom of his will. Question 526. As spirits possess the power of acting upon matter, can they bring about the incidents that will assure the accomplishment of a given event? For example, a man is destined to perish in a certain way at a certain time. He mounts a ladder, the ladder breaks, and he's killed. Have spirits caused the ladder to break in order to accomplish the destiny previously accepted by or imposed upon this man? The spirits answer, it is very certain that spirits have the power of acting upon matter but for the carrying out of the laws of nature, and not for derogating from them, by causing the production at a given moment of some unforeseen event in opposition to those laws. In such a case as the one you have just supposed, the ladder breaks because it is rotten or it's not strong enough to bear the man's weight. But as it was the destiny of this man to be killed in this way, the spirits about him will have put into his mind the idea of getting upon a ladder that will break down under his weight, and his death will thus have taken place naturally, without any miracle having been required to bring it about. Question 527. Let us take another example, one in which the ordinary conditions of matter would seem to be insufficient to account for the occurrence of a given event. A man is destined to be killed by lightning. He is overtaken by a storm and seeks refuge under a tree. The lightning strikes the tree and he's killed. Is it by spirits that the thunderbolt has been made to fall upon this particular man? The spirits say, the explanation of this case is the same as that of the former one. The lightning has fallen on the tree at this particular moment because it was in accordance with the laws of nature that it should do so. The lightning was not made to fall upon the tree because a man was under it, but the man was inspired with the idea of taking refuge under a tree upon which the lightning was about to fall. For the tree would have been struck all the same, whether the man had been under it or not. It's weird. I feel better, but I'm like suddenly congested. Crazy. Okay. Question 528. An ill-intentioned person hurls against someone a projectile which passes close by him but does not touch him. Has the missile in such a case been turned aside from some friendly spirit? The spirits answer, if the individual aimed at were not destined to be struck, a friendly spirit would have suggested to him the thought of turning aside from the path of the missile, or would have acted on his enemy's sight in such a way as to make him take a bad aim. For a projectile, when once impelled on its way, necessarily follows the line of its projection. Question 529. What is to be thought of the magic bullets which figure in certain legends and which by a mysterious fatality infallibly reach their mark? The spirits answer, they are purely imaginary. Man delights in the marvelous and is not contented with the marvels of nature. Follow-up question. May the spirits who direct the events of our lives be thwarted by other spirits who desire to give to our lives a different direction? And the spirits answer, what God has willed must needs take place. If delay or hindrance occur, it can only be by his appointment. Question 530. Cannot frivolous and mocking spirits give rise to the various little difficulties that defeat our projects and upset our calculations? In a word, are they not the authors of what may be termed the petty troubles of human life? The spirits answer, such spirits take pleasure in causing vexations which serve as trials for the exercise of your patience. But they tire of this game when they see that they do not succeed in ruffling you. But it would neither be just nor correct to charge them with all your disappointments, the greater number of which are caused by your own heedlessness. When your crockery is broken, the breakage is much more likely to have been caused by your own awkwardness than by spirit action. Do the spirits who bring about petty vexations act from personal animosity, or do they direct their attacks against the first person who comes handy without any fixed aim and simply to gratify their malice? That was her follow-up question. Or his follow-up question. And the spirits say, they act from both these motives. In some cases, they are enemies whom you have made during your present life or in some former one, who pursue you accordingly. In others, they act without any fixed motive. Question 531. In the case of those who have done us harm in the earthly life, is their malevolence extinguished when they return to the spirit world? And the spirits say, in many cases they perceive the injustice of their action and regret the wrong they've done you. But in other cases, they continue to pursue you with their animosity, if God permits them to do so, as a continuation of your trial. Follow-up question. Can we put an end to this sort of persecution, and by what means? And the spirits say, you can do so in many cases by praying for them, because by thus rendering them good for evil, you gradually bring them to see that they are in the wrong. And in all cases, if you can show them by your patience that you're able to rise superior to their machinations, they cease to attack you. They will cease to attack you, seeing that they gain nothing by doing so. Allan leaves his own thought here. He says, experience proves that imperfect spirits follow up their vengeance from one existence to another, and that we are thus made to expiate sooner or later the wrongs we may have done to others. Question 532. Are spirits able to avert misfortunes from some persons and to bring them upon others? And the spirits answer, only to a certain extent, for these are misfortunes that come upon you by the decrees of providence. But spirits can lessen your sufferings by helping you bear them with patience and resignation. Know also that it often depends on yourselves to avert misfortunes, or at least to attenuate them. God has given you intelligence in order that you may make use of it, and it is especially by doing so that you enable friendly spirits to aid you most effectually, vis-a-vis, by suggesting useful ideas, for they only help those who help themselves, a truth implied in the words, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. Besides, you must remember that what appears to you to be a misfortune is not always such. For the good which is destined to work out is often greater than the seeming evil. This fact is not always recognized by you because you're too apt to think only of the present moment and of your own immediate satisfaction. You know, I wonder if they're talking in general to everybody by that answer, if they're talking to Allan Kardec directly. Does that give us some sort of insight into his own personality? That he's like self-satisfying, like seeking self-gratification immediately? Or do they mean all of us? I think it means all of us, but it kind of gave me a weird thought there that maybe we could get further insight into Allan Kardec's personality. I don't know. Food for thought. Question 533. Can spirits obtain for us the gifts of fortune if we entreat them to do so? Follow-up There was a follow-up question. I forgot to say this. Oops, start over. 533. Can spirits obtain for us the gifts of fortune if we entreat them to do so? The spirits answer, they may sometimes accede to such a request as a trial for you, but they often refuse such demands as you refuse the inconsiderate demands of a child. Follow-up question. When such favors are granted, is it by good spirits or by bad ones? Answer. From the spirits? By both, for the quality both of the request and of the grant depends on the intention by which they are prompted. By such acquiescence is more frequent on the part of spirits who desire to lead you astray, and who find an easy means of doing this through the material pleasures procured by wealth. Question 534. When obstacles seem to be placed by a sort of fatality in the way of our projects, is it always through the influence of spirits? And the spirits answer, such obstacles are sometimes thrown in your way by the spirits, but they are often more attributable to your own bad management. Position and character have much to do with your successes or failures. If you persist in following a path which is not your right one, you become your own evil genius and have no need to attribute to spirit action the disappointments that result from your own obstinacy or mistake. Right? Question 535. When anything fortunate happens to us, ought we to thank our spirit guardian for it? And the spirits say, let your thanks be first for God, without whose permission nothing takes place, and next for the good spirits who have been his agents. Follow-up. What would happen if we neglected to thank them? And answer, that which happens to the ungrateful. Follow-up question. Yet are there persons who neither pray nor give thanks, and who nevertheless succeed in everything they do? Answer from the spirits, yes, but wait to see the end of their lives. They will pay dearly for this passing prosperity, which they have not deserved, for the more they've received, the more they will have to answer for. Oh, wow. Okay, action of spirits in the production of the phenomena of nature. Question 536. Are the great phenomena of nature those which we consider as perturbations of elements due to fortuitous causes, or have they all a providential aim? Oh my God, this language is so hard to read sometimes. Plus, there's like tons of typos. There's tons of commas where they shouldn't be, and periods in the middle of a sentence where they shouldn't be. It's like, that's why I like stop and start. It's like I'm reading this in fits and starts. It's like, I'm doing my best. This is a very rough manuscript. I mean, as you guys recall from a few weeks ago, I mentioned it was in French, and then translated to Portuguese, and then translated from Portuguese to English. So it's like, it's rough at places. All right, so the spirits answer that one. There is a reason for everything, and nothing takes place without the permission of God. And the follow-up question, have these phenomena always some reference to mankind? And the spirits say they have sometimes a direct reference to man, but they have often no other object than the reestablishment of the equilibrium and harmony of the physical forces of nature. And the follow-up question, we fully admit that the will of God must be the primal cause for these phenomena as of everything else. But as we know that spirits exercise an action upon matter and that they are the agents of the divine will, we ask whether some among them do not exert an influence upon the elements to rouse, calm, or direct them. Spirits answer, it is evident that they must do so. It could not be otherwise. God does not exercise a direct action upon matter. He has his devoted agents at every step of the ladder of worlds. That's very interesting. That's the second time the word ladders come up. And if you guys are listening to Shreen Kara lately, then you just caught that. That's a reference. They just went to Bhutan and went to a very sacred building in the middle of nowhere called the Little Tiger's Nest. And there's three huge ladders, rickety old 500-year-old ladders they had to climb up to get to the top. And every part of this sacred building had pictures painted to represent different parts of the world. And when they hit the third part, those pictures represent ascension. So, I don't know. That's very interesting. Okay, let's get on with it. Question 537. The mythology of the ancients is entirely based on spiritist ideas, with this difference that they regarded spirits as divinities. They represented those gods or spirits with special attributes. Thus, some of them had charge of the winds, others of lightning, others again presided over vegetation, etc. Is this belief entirely devoid of foundation? And the spirits say, it is so far from being devoid of foundation that it is far below the truth. Follow-up. May there in some way be spirits inhabiting the interior of the earth and presiding over the development of geological phenomena? Wow, that's a great question. Allan Kardec rocks, man. Okay, the spirits answer. Those spirits do not positively inhabit the earth, but they preside over and direct its developments according to their various attributions. You will someday have the explanation of all these phenomena, and you will then understand them better. Question 538. Do the spirits who preside over the phenomena of nature form a special category in the spirit world? Are they beings apart or spirits who have been incarnated like us? Spirits answered, they are spirits who will be incarnated or who have been so. And the follow-up, do those spirits belong to the higher or lower degrees of spirit hierarchy? And the spirits answered, that is in according as their post is more or less material or intelligent. Some command, others execute. Those who discharge material functions are always of an inferior order among spirits as among men. Question 539. In the production of certain phenomena of storms, for example, is it a single spirit that acts or a mass of spirits? And the spirits say, a mass of spirits, or rather innumerable masses of spirits. Question 540. Do the spirits who exert an action over the phenomena of nature act with knowledge and intention in virtue of their free will, or from an instinctive and unreasoning impulse? And these spirits say, some act in the one way, others in the other. To employ a comparison, figure to yourself the myriads of animalcule that build up islands and archipelagos in the midst of the sea. Do you believe that there can be in this process no providential intention, and that this transformation of the surface of the globe is not necessary to the general harmony? Yet all this is accomplished by animals of the lowest degree, in providing for their bodily wants and without any consciousness of their being instruments of God. In the same way, spirits of the most rudimentary degrees are useful to the general whole, while preparing to live and prior to their having the full consciousness of their action and free will. They are made to concur in the development of the various departments of nature, in the production of the phenomena of which they are the unwitting agents. They begin by executing the orders of their superiors. Subsequently, when their intelligence is more developed, they command in their turn and direct the processes of the material world. Still later, again, they are able to direct the things of the moral world. It is thus that everything in nature is linked together from the primitive atom to the archangel, who himself began at the atom, an admirable law of harmony, which your mind is as yet too narrow to seize in its generality. All right, guys, I'm really tired. I need a rest. I'm feeling rough, man. Okay, we're going to come back next week with question 541, which is the first question in the section called Spirits During a Battle. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit, in a week, actually. All right, so, we've done it. We're halfway through the month of December. We have lived through this massive supernova shockwave that came through. Others are expected, but this one so far was the biggest one. I hope that you guys are okay. I hope you guys are getting through it all right. I feel like I've been through a battle. My muscles are sore and achy, and I'm feeling lousy. Physically, emotionally, I'm actually okay. And I'm just grateful to God that we're still alive and we're still here and we're good. And it is a good practice always. The spirits did say that. To thank God for everything. Always thank God constantly. Thank you, God. Thanks to God for that. Thanks to God for this. Always be grateful for everything you get. And I always was, and I think I was always saying that maybe, but I read the Quran, and after I read the Quran, it literally says on every single page of the Quran to remember God, thank God, remember everything that happens to you is to, it's from God, and be grateful for everything. And it's almost like there's a deeper spiritual training in the Quran, because it says that. So I thought that was very interesting, and it put that into my consciousness in a much more deep and profound way. So I'm constantly always like, when I'm talking to people in everyday language, I'll say, oh, thank God, People say, are you sick? You don't look good. And I'll say, yeah, I am sick, but you know what? Thank God I am getting better. Or thank God for the lesson, or maybe I needed a break in my life. Thank God for that. I try to reframe it to the best of my abilities. So, it is what it is. I don't know. I guess I'm just going to sign off. Yesterday I forgot to tell you guys, please send in your New Year's predictions. We only have a couple more weeks. You have another week to send in miracle stories of Santa Claus, anything that you may have. I don't know. It doesn't have to be about Santa Claus specifically. It could be anything to do with any part of the holiday season. If you were influenced by spirits, or I don't know, if you wrote Santa Claus a letter and it came true when you were a kid. I want to hear about miracle stories surrounding the holidays. I know that this is a more magical time of year. I know that there generally is a spirit of Christmas. I don't feel it here in Ecuador as much as I do in the United States when I'm there. The spirit, it's like it overcomes the whole of the U.S. and everyone feels so happy and joyful and powerful in the spirit of generosity, compassion, and giving. And it might be a group of spirits. It might be angels, of which we are unaware. But there generally is a spirit of Christmas. And I don't feel it as much here, even though the people here are very sweet in general, no matter what the day, whether it's Christmas or any time of the year. I noticed that, at least in Ecuador, people are very sweet in general. I've come across maybe 5 people that are mean out of 100 here. Not even 5, maybe 3 out of 100. So it's opposite of what I encountered in Peru. As much as I love Peru and I love the people of Peru, and I pray for them all anyway, because You know, now that I think they might be influenced by spirits, it makes more sense to me. You know, but countries have had different circumstances than, you know, other countries. For example, Peru, I guess everyone was happy and everything was great. And then Chile attacked them and there was a big war. And there was a huge battle. And it was won in the part of Lima called Chorrillos. And that's where I lived. I didn't know when I moved there. Then I started hearing about it, and I'm like, oh my God. No wonder the people, they don't trust us. We're new. We're strangers. We're extranjeros. And I just kept trying to smooth over the energy of the neighborhood. Just, God bless this person. God bless that person. God bless the neighborhood. God, you know. And it was hard, you know, energetically and emotionally to even be there. And we lived there for 6 months in that apartment and had to leave a month early. We were told that we were, anyway, I just don't want to get into that. It was bad, really, really bad. We're lucky we're alive. And, you know, I noticed, and then when I came to Ecuador, I mean, I hear the stories of all the conquistadors, you know. First it was the Incans, and then, because they came from Peru, and then it was the Spaniards, and then they weren't here very long, you know, like they just generally, you know, the Incans, we have like days here that we celebrate freedom from the Incans rule and also freedom from the Spaniards rule. You know, and I think that Colombia and Ecuador might have been one country at one point. I think that they had maybe had a battle as well. So there's still some rough energy towards the border of Colombia and Ecuador, which I've never been to. I haven't experienced it firsthand. But I know that there's a lot of problems there right now, so I don't really want to go. But I've noticed different cities have different vibes. Like Quito has a really fun and exciting vibe, but also a lot of elements of danger. Like absolutely, like there's a lot of evil spirits there. I went to a church, my friend took me to a church, and the story is that the legend has it that the church was built in one night with the help of the devil. And at midnight, the following night, the devil was supposed to take the soul of the person who built the church upon the completion of the church. And there's one little part of the church that he purposely did not complete, so the devil would not have his soul. And I put pictures of this on my Instagram. It's at mermaidgirl888. It's such a creepy, freaking evil feeling church. And I was inside the church when my friend was telling me, like, we were entering it, and then he told me the story that the devil built this church. I'm like, what? What? Why? Like, and it's like a the church is San Francisco. It's like literally built in the name of Saint Francis, which is my name, right? And it gave me such a creepy feeling. And I went there and it just felt energetically low in vibration. Tons of gold inside the church. It's a beautiful church. But I mean, when you have the devil build anything, there's going to have an evil, low vibrational element to it, right? I mean, provided the story is actually real. And when I left the church after being inside for an hour or two, because we had to wait out a massive rainstorm, which I'm now suspecting was evil spirits. And we went outside and I just felt them. I felt them all around the church. Like really, like devils, like demons all around the church. I felt them. And they were like ready to swoop down and wreak havoc with everybody. And I just asked God to constantly be with me. While I was in the church, I kept asking God to be with me. I didn't feel any sense of reverence or holiness there. I felt a sense of desperation and sadness in the people who go to that church to pray. And I just asked God to bless everybody, like repeatedly. It was just like really ridiculous. So I feel like that's like a big part of keto, is that, at least the part I went to, was that energy. When I got away from it there a few blocks, I felt better, but it's almost like a dark shadow that looms over that city. And I feel the elements of negativity and sadness and evil. And I mean, my friend was hurt there in his past, and his cousin, his cousin-in-law, who is the president of the country now, was, well, put in a wheelchair in keto. There's like that energy, that element. But then when I'm here in Cuenca, the energy is very sweet. Overall, very sweet, very loving. There are some sinister elements to the city. Like, there's a seedy underbelly to every city, right? But then there's the general gist of the people, the general energy, the vibe of the people. And overall, people are warm and friendly. And when they say they're Catholic, they're true Christians, and they feel a loving kindness towards each other, and they want to help you, and they want to be your friend. And that's what I've gotten from the older people here. And the younger people have given in to a lot of the materialism idea, battling of the wills, but on a subconscious front. And I feel the energy of that. So I'm always like, I stand in my window and I give the neighborhood love. I just love everybody. And I send love to everybody. I see people limping or hurt, and I give them love. And I see, like, these people who hit the dog, I just sent them love, because I feel like the dog wasn't paying attention. They weren't paying attention. It was just, things happen. And so everything's going to be fine. The dog will be okay. His injuries will heal in a week or two. You know, I'm sending him love, and I'm sending the people love, because they didn't mean to do that. And I just, and I'm going to be contemplating the words that I read today quite a bit. I hope you guys are too. I hope you could see it. Have you ever been to Denver, Colorado? There's such a neutral energy there. Not good, not evil, just completely neutral. I've been to a few places. In Puno, I felt a neutral energy. And it might be because of the super high elevation. Both cities have very, very, very high elevation. And even though there was the one racist lady there, most of the people in Puno are very sweet. So overall, the spirits are good there. But I'm gonna be contemplating this one for a while. I thought it was just me and my friend. We had noticed that, but look, Allan Kardec, 162 years ago, thought the same things. So what is your city like where you live, and what can you do to help it? If you're constantly thanking God and asking for compassion and love to reign in your world, in your city or state or province or wherever you live around the world, maybe you can help it. Maybe your friends, you guys can all start a project where you just send love and light out into the city. Make Genesis crystals and put them in strategic locations. I'm thinking about doing that, here, like maybe making Genesis crystals and putting them in in trees where people can't reach them, and maybe where they won't notice them, and that will clear whole miles worth of negativity. And maybe people will step away from the materialistic energy and more towards the ascensionistic energies. Because if we all just wish for the peace of God, the peace which passes all understanding, and we long only to know God, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all else shall be added unto you. I was talking about going towards a gift that God gave you that will nurture your heart, and then the money will be added. But what if you sought a higher purpose and you sought for God first? Only God first. And now you have everything added unto you. So, another food for thought thing. Send me your New Year's predictions as soon as possible, please. to metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com. Also, any holiday stories you wish to send my way for purposes of me reading them on the air for Christmas, let me know. And, well, that's it. That's all I gotta say about that. That's all I gotta say for tonight. I'm gonna go and relax, and my keyboard on my phone stopped working, so the descriptions of the individual sections of this episode won't be available unless I could figure it out on my computer. So now I've got to use 2 devices to make the episode instead of one. One of those annoying little things. So anyway, I'm grateful for the opportunity to think outside the box. So there it is. Thank you, God, for that. All right. I love you guys. I love you so much. Thank you for being on this ascension journey and living on this crazy blue marble with me. I'm glad we're together working towards a common goal. And that's it. I'll be back tomorrow with all unique and original programming, God willing, and the creeks don't rise. Signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the holy 5th dimension. Until next time, guys. Peace. Do you ever wish you could look into the next chapter in your book of life and see what's coming next? What does the universe have in store for you? I can help you with that. I will give you a Celtic cross reading, which is 10 cards, or you can ask me 3 questions, and I use 3 cards per question. So that's 9 cards, or I can channel your higher guidance, or maybe God directly for you. Maybe you want to talk to your dear departed Aunt Edna, because maybe you have a few questions and she was the smartest person you knew. If your deceased relatives are available or your ascended masters, I can channel them for you personally. Let me have 1 hour to show you the future in your next chapter of your book of life. Readings are $75, and it takes me an hour to an hour and a half to complete. And for this price, you will also be hooked up to the healing grid around the planet for free, which means yours truly, me, I will be giving you Reiki 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of your life. All you have to do is let me know. metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com, and we will explore your future together.